What's up everyone, in today's video I'm going to share with you how you can find the best performing Christmas books on Amazon this year so that next year you can buy these books on Amazon and resell them on Amazon for a lot of money. Now specifically today we're going to hone into Christmas books, which are simply just books that sell very well during Christmas. You can think like children's Christmas books, you can also think like cookbooks, any sort of book that is going to perform and sell much more quickly during December. Those are the sorts of books that we're going to look for right now. And not only that, we're going to look for the best performing Christmas books. And the reason why this is so awesome is because you can actually save a lot of these books and actually buy them, next year so that you're ready for Christmas 2025. But real quick, before we get started, I do want to let you know that the video sponsor today is Bookmine, which is the fastest way to source books on Amazon, but more on that later. Now, in order to do this, we do need to start on Keepa.com. So go ahead and go to Keepa. You will need a Keepa subscription, and you will also want to make sure you have the Keepa Chrome extension downloaded on Google. But once we're there, we're actually going to go over to the data tab and go to Product Finder, and this is where we're actually going to search for these Christmas books. Now, in Product Finder, is exactly what it sounds like, finding products. And so the idea is what we need to do is be creative and clever with exactly what we want to pinpoint. And in this case, we want to pinpoint those Christmas books that are already really doing very well this year. And the first way that we do this is simply just think about the Christmas book as, as we're getting closer to December, that it should actually be selling much more quickly, meaning its sales rank should be getting lower. And so what I'm going to do for the 180-day average is just say that we want the specific book that we're looking for to have a sales rank under 2.5 million as a 180-day average. Now for the 30-day average, we want that sales rank to be no higher than 1.2 million. And then let's just say that the current sales rank has to be under 800,000. And so all this is going to tell us is essentially find us books that have improved in popularity because they're selling much more frequently now versus in the past. And that makes sense, right? A lot of Christmas books people won't want until it actually is Christmas. Now I'm gonna scroll down and also click this Amazon out of stock button. And that's just because Amazon does sell tons of Christmas books, but they generally tend to sell them for like 15 or less. And that just means there's not enough room for us to buy this on Amazon and flip it and make money. Now I'm gonna keep scrolling down, and this is actually a really important thing. We also want the current used buy box to be at least $23 or higher. What that means is right now there's an FBA offer in the buy box for that particular book, and it's at least $23 or more. That's a sweet spot because generally you can pick these books up on Amazon for like under $7. And if this is already buy boxing in late November, early December for right around, $23 or more, this is a book that potentially could be really good for us. I'm going to continue to scroll down, and the next thing we're going to do is make sure that we're just clicking the book category because we are specifically looking for books. Now for this particular search, we're just going to go ahead and put in the title of Christmas. And the reason why we're going to put the title for Christmas is because we're looking for any potential book, right, that has Christmas in the title that meets all of these criteria, meaning that it's becoming more popular, its current used buy box is over $23, and Amazon's out of stock. Now you'll see when we do that, we have 108 products, and if we click the find product button, essentially we'll have all of these products that we can now look through. And essentially we're just going to be looking for a very simple pattern, which is we want to see increased demand and used price being much higher right now, which is indicative of a great Christmas book. One of the first books that I see is actually a book that Victor Gallegos, my business partner and best friend, basically have shown tons and tons of people. And once again, even though we share this with a lot of people, it's yet again doing incredibly well this year. So here's the pattern that we're looking for over a very long period of time. And this particular book is just, shows this pattern year in and year out. We're looking for a couple of things. One, we're looking for the sales rank to go very low during November, December. And you can see that we have this U-shaped sales rank where, basically every single year it's repeating. You can see that's where we're at right now as well. And then you also want to see the used price go up like this. And so we see the used price go down in the off season and then go up right around November, December, which is when people would actually want to buy the book. And you can see that this is also happening this year right now. Also on the bottom graph, this is called the used offer count. You expect that offer count to go low during the times when it's Christmas, when people are buying it. And so again, you kind of see the same pattern where offer count goes up and it goes down, it goes up and it goes down. And so what we're seeing right now is the same exact thing where we're seeing the offer count starting to go down. That means, there are less and less sellers on this listing. And that's again because people are buying it and now the used price is going up. So if we look at the sales rank, notice how the sales rank is now starting to come down like this. We're kind of in the middle part. Over the next couple of weeks, this book is going to just continue to do really well. And notice that the buy box price here is actually always significantly higher than that lowest used price. And it's actually buy boxing already in the high 30s. Now, this is a book you could have come and bought in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October for probably under $11 or $12 on Amazon, probably even cheaper than that. Probably could even picked up some of these copies on eBay, a book that sells very, very well. And so this is one example of a Christmas book, which you should absolutely be adding to your Christmas list for next year so you can pick it up. For this particular book, I would say you could probably buy 5 to 7 copies pretty confidently and sell all of them, as long as you, again, pick them up at a good price and you're not shooting for the absolute moon. I mean, you would want to kind of look at, well, what is the book sold for in the past? For example, last year was selling, at this point in time, $38, $39, $40 in the buy box. Guess what? Same thing happening this year, and so that's what you'd be targeting next year as well. Now, over here on Seller App, I went ahead and put in a purchase price of $12 and a sales price of $40. And if you were to buy this for under $12 and sell for $40, you'd be making a $10 profit and an 86% return on your money, which is absolutely insane. And that's accounting for all of the fees, including a prep fee. Yes, you heard that right, including a prep fee. So I have a prep center, which means all the books I buy, I don't actually open or inspect. I ship them to a prep center that basically inspects thousands and thousands of books every single week. They are very good. They do a very good job of essentially, making sure that the quality of the book is good, that, there's no broken spines, there's no water damage, there's nothing wrong with the book, like that is actually a sellable book. And for that, they charge me $2.25. I use Central Virginia Prep, but again, what I want to show you is you could have bought this book for $12, sell for $40, make a $10, 43-cent profit. That's with Amazon's referral fee, their FBA fee, their closing fee, your prep center fee, your inbound shipping fee, and you can actually see, well, Joji, $0 for a storage fee. Well, storage fees are just gonna kill you, right? Actually, no. I mean, even if you bought this, let's say in January of this year, meaning like 10 or 11 months ago, you can move this slider to 10 or 11 months and you can still see the profit is $9 with a 75% ROI. Now, certainly that's a lower ROI and less profit, but if you think about how cheap it is to actually hold a book there for a year, it's actually very, very incredible. It's honestly almost so insignificant that I certainly don't worry about it. And that's actually a great sort of question that people ask all the time. Joji, when should you send your books in? If you find a Christmas book and you want to buy it and you want to sell it, when should you actually send it in? And my answer is always, as soon as you buy it. As soon as you buy it, ship it in, because of the fact that the storage fees are actually pretty nominal. For example, if you bought this book back here in September it was $4.61 plus shipping. So you probably could have got this book for $8, in which case you'd be making even way more money and a way greater margin, and you would have had it stored there for about 3 months. You can see how that brings your profit down from $14.43 all the way down to about $14.01. So essentially a storage fee of 42 cents to keep it there. So again, as soon as you are thinking about buying the book, just buy it and send it right to Amazon. And also, a lot of times the books will sell even before it's Christmas time, which is pretty cool. Now, again, I did want to go and shout out today's sponsor, which is Bookmine. Bookmine is a software that Victor Gallegos and I built together. It's a way to make sourcing books on Amazon even easier, where you don't have to do a whole bunch of Keepa Product Finder searches or use Keepa deals. And one book that I just found using the Bookmine score filter, essentially the closer the number to 10, the greater profitability, or the more likely we think the book will be profitable. We came up with a bunch of different books, so 73 books with a score of 7 to 10. This one in particular, Sun Valley, looked incredibly great. I mean, $60 for this book. That's an amazing price on the profit meter. It's in normal supply, but very likely to sell out. And you can actually see on the Keepa graph that this is a book that has just dropped in price. Now, if you actually go over to the Amazon listing, there's actually just one person in used condition at $56.83. It actually happens to be a prime seller. And then the next two offers are actually one's at $130 in new condition, and then a collectible offer over $200. And again, you can kind of see with this Keepa graph how the most recent sell is about $150. There's plenty of sales in the right around the $100 range back in October. But go back to September, we have some sales in the $170 range, some sales in the $90. So this is a book that I would absolutely recommend that you buy. For a book like this, buying it for $56.83, I think reasonably you could probably sell it for like $115, and you're making a 47% ROI, $27 profit on just that one book. And you don't really have to do anything. You just send it right to a prep center. And of course, tons of other great books on Bookmine. But again, if you want to try it out, free 10-day trial below. And with that said, let's get back to the video. Now, certainly there's going to be a ton of other books that appear here as well. And some of these books you can actually see that Amazon was in stock on, and then they've recently gone out of stock on. And a lot of these Christmas books as well may be books that have recently come out. And so we will start to see over the coming years, over the next 3, 5, 7, 10 years, a lot of these books that maybe might not be profitable now, be very profitable in the future, and definitely want to keep an eye on a lot of them. Once again, this is exactly the same pattern that we're looking for, which is to see that the used offer count is taking a nosedive here in November. Actually, this started going down in October, which is great. And you can see how the prices were really high up here last December, and prices kind of bottomed out. You could have bought this book between March and November for pretty much, $6 or $7 in Amazon. And now you can see that prices already started to go back up. And you can also see that the buy box prices are already up there in the mid-20s, which is great. Now, what's also interesting is that you will find some Christmas books that, even though their lowest used price might not go up very much. For example, this book here, you'll notice that its used price kind of still just flatlines, even though it is November, but the buy box price still goes up like this. And as long as that has happened in the previous year, which it did happen in the previous year, what I would say is, while it's a little bit more risky to buy a book like that because the lowest price doesn't go up, there's still historical evidence to suggest or to support that it could happen like that again. You can actually go back to 3 years where you'll see this used buy box data. It doesn't actually go, start before that, because 2022, I think November was when they first added that feature, when Keepa added that feature. But for example, this is a book that doesn't really go up in price very much for the lowest used price. It gets up to like the $10, comes back down, maybe got up into like the $15 range. And then even now isn't really going up. But again, notice that this has a sort of very sustainable or very predictable buy box price as it goes much higher. So in this case, where you do see the used offer count moving down substantially, it goes down so much. This is a book that is certainly selling up there in the mid-20s. And so for a book that you can basically buy for probably $5 or $6 or $7, selling it for $24, $25, you're probably making $7, $8, $9 profit on it. Again, never even needing to touch the book, which is great. I know what you're thinking. Another question, Joji, how many of these should I buy? Should I buy 1? Should I buy 50? Should I buy 1,000? How many should I buy? It's all going to be relative to really how low the sales rank gets and how long it stays there. So, and it's not like an exact science where if it's exactly the sales rank, you buy exactly this many books. It's more of an experience thing that as you do this, you'll have a better understanding. But when you do see the sales rank, get very low, certainly once it gets this low, 75,000. Now you're talking definitely about buying multiple copies of the book. For a book like this, I might buy 3, 4, 5 copies, because of the fact that the sales rank gets very low and it does stay there. And again, you can see how there is a very large change in the offer count, which is a very good sign that, if you come on the listing with this book, you're very likely going to sell them if you're priced competitively. Now, one tip I have is you can also click on the eBay button here for this particular book on the Keepa graph, and you'll notice that oftentimes there will be sellers that will offer something like a buy 2, get 2 free, 15% off 3+, $10 off, $30 spend. That certainly can help you bring the cost down. And a lot of these books you can, basically in the off season, you can probably pick them up for, $4 or $5. So again, that's if you wanted to source some of the books on eBay. Now, a really important lesson with this book, this is actually a pop-up book. And what you need to understand about pop-up books is that they have pop-ups in them. And if they don't function correctly, it's much more likely that you'll get a return. So it's up to you whether or not you want to make sure that the pop-ups are actually working. Certainly there's tons and tons of opportunities with pop-up books, even recordable books as well can do incredibly well. But you just need to make sure that they work, or else be prepared to get returns. Here's yet another Merry Christmas songbook. Again, this is already buy boxing up in the mid-30s, which is great. Yet another book here, Christmas from the Heart of the Home, where it doesn't really see any increase in the lowest use price, but it does see the buy box prices get up there into the 20s. That looks like it did happen last year as well. So again, a little bit more risk on a book like this because the lowest use price doesn't get up that high. But again, the buy box is sitting there at like $26. You can see that this person actually did go out of stock at $26.99. So there's still even an opportunity with books like that. This particular book, Christmas in the Country, a very strong sign that this Christmas book will do really well is if you start seeing the offer count dive like this in September and October. If it starts going down that low and basically a couple of months before the season happens, all it means is that the amount of demand is sort of outpacing the new supply coming on the market. And as you can see how this used offer count has continued to dive. And even recently, you can see in the last couple of days how this offer count has gone from 10 all the way down to about 3 in the matter of just 1 or 2 days. So this particular book is really going to pop off. You can see this, you know, the buy box prices are already $29.99, but again, there's only a couple offers on this, and there's still an entire month to go. And think about how crazy this is. You could have bought this book January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October for right around $2.80 plus shipping, so right around $6 or $7. And now, at the absolute best time to sell this book, there are actually only 3 people in stock. And likely those 3 people will be gone in the next couple of days, meaning if you just had 1 copy or a couple of copies, you could almost be charging as much as you want. I can say almost because obviously it has to be within some reality, right? Somebody's probably not going to pay you $100 for this book because it generally is pretty much worthless, but certainly you could probably get in the low 30s to the mid 30s, maybe even the high 30s, maybe even the low 40s, maybe even up to $50. Who knows? But this is a great sign of an awesome book. And again, the whole purpose of this video is to share with you how just a very simple Keepa Product Finder search like this can really set you up great for next Christmas because of the fact that so many of these books are just winning Christmas books. Now, another huge tip I have for you here to help you with sourcing is what you can do is basically just copy this URL for the Keepa Product Finder search or for any search that you're doing. And essentially what will appear is the same exact search results. If you come back to advanced filter, you see that all the filters that we just set are already pre-selected. Now, what you can do is notice that with our previous search, we used Christmas as the title. However, notice that Christmas is actually just, you know, 1 word. There's plenty of other Christmas related words that you could use to find other books that don't have Christmas in the title, but have some other word associated with Christmas in the title. For example, there could be a book about reindeers, or there could be a book about Rudolph that doesn't have Christmas in the title. And so there might be a book that meets all of our other criteria, but doesn't meet the criteria of Christmas in the title. So this is why being clever really does help. So all we could do here is we could change this name and we could essentially put like Rudolph, like this. If we put Rudolph, you'll see that this brings it down to just 2 products. But hey, those are 2 products that we didn't have before, because notice that neither of these actually have neither of these have Christmas in the title. And there you go. Here's a book about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's a pop-up book. Again, if you want to deal with pop-up books, you can. There's totally tons and tons of opportunity with this book if you're willing to put in that extra work, but it's already buy boxing in the high 20s, right? A book you could have bought for probably $8 or less. Now, what's cool is you could also use ChatGPT to help you with your sourcing. You could simply say something like, what other words are very popular for Christmas besides Christmas? And I'm sure it'll give you a list of all the other words that you could look for. So you have holiday, festive, merry, joy, Yuletide. Let's try that one. Yuletide sounds interesting. We could copy that, come back here to our Keepa Product Finder search, go back to advanced filter, and we could scroll all the way down. And for our title, we could put Yuletide in. Okay, it doesn't look like there's anything there, but maybe we can put something like jolly, or maybe Santa. How about Santa? Santa sounds like that's probably pretty good. There you go. There's 10 products that have Santa in the title, and Santa Claus and his elves. There we go. Okay, that's definitely a book that has some seasonal demand to it. It's buy boxing already up into the 35 range. And notice that it doesn't have Christmas in the title. And look what we have here. We have elves. So maybe even elves could be a cool word that we can use. Let's go back to advanced filter, and we could go ahead and put elves in. Now, it looks like we have 3 products there. One is probably going to be the one that we just found. And now look at this. We have the elves and the shoemaker. Look at this book. It's already in the mid 20s, high 20s in terms of the used buy box price. And this is actually a book that Amazon was normally in stock on and recently has gone out of stock on. And yeah, this is going to be a good Christmas book for years in the future, as long as Amazon stays out of stock on it. You can see that as soon as Amazon went out of stock, used offer count has basically stayed very, very low since then. So yeah, a book that's probably going to continue to perform well in the future. Now, a couple of other pointers for finding other books as well is, again, we were searching for a specific title, but we could always get rid of the title. That brings us back to that 10,000 products, and instead we can search for a subcategory. So for example, we could type something like Christmas books. So we could type in Christmas for the category, and notice that what comes up is children's books in holidays and celebrations. And so that brings 56 products. So now we're not necessarily looking for a book that has Christmas in it. Now we're just looking for a book that's in the subcategory for Christmas books. And you probably will see a lot of overlap, but all I'm trying to do here is give you ideas for how you can find some amazing and winning Christmas books for next year, because by this point it's too late. It's already the end of November. A lot of my Christmas books have already sold. Some will continue to sell over the next couple weeks. I do want you all to have the opportunity to buy Christmas books into the future as well. So I hope you found this video helpful. Remember to check out our sponsor, Bookmine, down below, free 10-day trial if you guys want to find all year round books and seasonal books. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.